Hey guys, I'm Leila. Welcome back to my channel. Today, instead of the usual tutorial or a follow along video, I would like to show you some of my own painting process. So don't forget to subscribe, press notification bell, and without further ado, let's start from the beginning. Okay, so the board is already prepared and I've got the underpainting done on it, and you can see me sketching my subject matter with a graphite pencil, so just marking that through. And now painting time. Getting some paint ready. I'm going to start with a darker color for the wooden table. I'm going over some of the things that I've already sketched out, but that's not a problem because once you sketch it out, you sort of keep it in your memory, and then it works well. And if you need to move some objects around, you can always do that in the process. And now that I've mixed up some lighter color, I'm applying some highlights, lighter areas of the wooden surface. I like to work in layers and build up the color to the intensity that I want. Introducing other shades as well, like more reds. And some darker areas as well. And then going back to the lighter shades. And now it's time to paint the cat. So this is like an undercoat, underlayer. It doesn't need to be neat or particular in any way. It's pretty much just blocking the area in. It doesn't even need to be nice and smooth, it can be quite patchy because it's going to be fur, and fur does have that patchy sort of a feel to it. And then I start to layer up again, applying lighter and darker shades. And slowly the cat starts to take more and more of its sort of finished look. So going back for lighter and darker colors. At the moment it's very basic. The gray is quite basic. I don't have any shades or anything like this added to it, so no um, specific warm shades or cool shades, or it's just very simple at this stage. And that's a good little tip as well. If you're working on, for example, fur, when you are applying light and shadow, you can use your brush in a way that resembles fur strokes, so that way you're not only applying your shadows and highlights, but you are also working on the fur texture at the same time. You'll be able to see that I start with larger areas, larger strokes, um, and then going into smaller details and adding more, with each layer they get finer and finer. And you see now I start to add a little bit more ochre into my gray paint mix. More fur details. And of course you understand that this is a very sort of abbreviated, shortened version of me painting this. The actual painting took me maybe around 10 days to complete. And you can see how more colors come into play now. The thing is, the cat will still be gray at the end of the day, but you'll see how many different variations of gray that will be used. There's still a long way to go, but you can see um, the overall look already. You can kind of tell what it will look like in the end. And at this stage, I'm just using white, I think straight out of the tube, for some stronger highlights, around the eyes and ears and little separate strands of fur as well. And now, even though this cat kind of looks realistic, it's not the realistic representation of a cat. It's not a portrait of a real cat that I know. It's a portrait of a magician cat, so a very magical cat. A bit more pink around the nose and the mouth area. Previously, you saw me using white to highlight separate strands and create the fluffy, furry look. And now I'm doing the same thing with a darker color. And now going into the eyes. Because it's a magical cat, I've decided to make one eye sort of a red orange and the other one bright blue. So this is definitely pop surrealism. It's not realism. Going into the detail with the black and marking up the highlights. I will go back to the eyes and refine them a bit more when everything's dry. Refining some more little bits and finishing off the whiskers. And you would probably say, oh, these ears are too furry. But remember, this is pop surrealism, so it's a magical cat. And here I'm going back and to refine the eyes once again, making them brighter and clearer. And same for the blue eye as well. And now I'm working with a flat brush to bring in a little bit of pink, just to soften the strokes that I've applied previously with um, a small round brush. Working on the furry little paws. Every couple of days, actually, whenever I come back into the studio to start another day of painting, I have to brush the dust off of my artwork, even though my studio is not very dusty, but there's usually a lot of stuff that just collects overnight or over a couple of days. And here you can see me sketching some of these objects back in. And I have decided to change the placement a little bit as well at this stage. Here I'm starting to paint the objects that I have sketched out. And sometimes you can get a stray hair in your brush. I would not suggest cutting it off because it will get in the way of you using this brush afterwards. So I always suggest to pull that hair out with your fingers or tweezers if that makes it easier. Now, because this painting is inspired by a tarot card, the Magician, you can see that it still has all the attributes. So the sword, the wand, coin, and the cup. So that represents the four suits of the tarot cards. And now I'm working on the wand, which is pretty much just a wooden stick. And here again you can see that I'm applying some highlights and some shadows to make it look three-dimensional. And now it's time for a coin. So just like with all the other things, again, first I apply just an overall block color, and then I start to refine it with more and more layers. Now some finishing details on the coin. And some extra highlights as well. Here you can see that I'm starting to block out the color for the cup as well. So this is going to be a transparent glass cup, but more like a cocktail sort of a thing happening in there. It's not just a magical cat, it's also a very fancy cat too. And just like with all the other things as well, here you can see that I'm working with the sort of a base colors first, and then I'm applying more and more definition, more color goes in, more details. And the more time goes on, the more of the three-dimensional look that you do get with the object. And because the painting itself is quite small and it has a lot of small objects in there, all the little details and things like that have to be done very carefully because it's almost at the level of a miniature in a way. And a little lemon, slice of lemon on the side there. Now I'm putting in some more definition into the lemon slice and more details to make it more complete. And now I'm on to the symbol of eternity. It's like this magical sign that hangs over the magician in tarot cards, so I thought I'd pop that in there as well for a stronger connection. Here you can see the fast forward steps of creating the reflection on the table. I didn't want to make the table extremely polished, but I wanted to have some reflection in there. And now I'm working on the planets and exactly the same thing. First I put this underpainting, which is quite rough, quite plain, just one block color, and then I start to add more color for definition and to create the shape and the look that I want. I don't know if you managed to guess this at this stage, but this is going to be Saturn. So these are the shadows from the rings of the Saturn. Some more highlights and color as well. Can you guess which planet this one is going to be? And you can see how with each layer there's just more and more definition, and not just the 3D form, but also the details and things that make us believe that we are looking at the particular object that we're looking at. And now I'm just signing the painting because it's finished. And that's the finished project already in the frame.
Please let me know if you like this video and if you would like me to film some more of these process videos for you in the future. This is a short version video. If you would like to see a full one, remember you can always go to my Patreon account and sign up there, where just for $8 a month you will be able to see all the extra videos that you can't see here on YouTube. So you will be getting all the new stuff and supporting me. How great! And thank you guys so much for your support. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for painting with me. Or if you would like me to film some more or for painting some of my today, I'm not going to show you a ёлки-моталки.